Hello and welcome to the Fintech Show. In this special episode, we're giving B-Hive the deep dive. Their fintech ecosystem launched in 2015 and has since established itself as a powerhouse of innovation, opening hubs across the globe and striving to connect the dots between the corporate partners and the startups. We drop in on each one of these hubs and also take a look at the first annual Digital Finance Europe event, a collaboration between B-Hive and the European Banking Federation. Firstly though, we sent Leah Jacobiak to B-Hive's London hub, where she talked business with the CEO and business manager of B-Hive.
What does B-Hive do in a nutshell?
Well, we founded the company with my co-founder Jürgen Engels, who is a serial entrepreneur in fintech. And we developed the concept of what we call a collaborative innovation platform, basically meaning that we bring together innovative tech companies from around the world and major financial players, banks, but also institutions like SWIFT or Euroclear, MasterCard. And we bring them together in an ecosystem where actually we go beyond pure networking and exchange of knowledge. We guide them in proof of concepts where we try to add value to the financial players by implementing new technologies that come from fintechs or other technology companies.
So here we're mainly trying to make the connection between obviously our members and corporate partners in Belgium, Brussels, and the local ecosystem, which is very important in terms of exchange of ideas and business.
And how is the ecosystem for fintech here in London in general?
It's very vibrant. Obviously, London has a long history of being a financial center. I think next to that you have a lot of the tech players and the VC community, so it's very vibrant. Therefore, it's interesting for Belgian companies coming here to basically grow their business. But it's also interesting for corporates, financial institutions and others who want to come here and watch and learn from their peers and maybe even look at some of the new companies here.
What we saw happening was that while initially there was very much a kind of a cowboys versus Indian story where the new fintechs were going to disrupt the entire financial industry, things have evolved towards a more cooperative, collaborative environment where companies work together either as partners in their go-to-market strategy or technology companies provide solutions to the large financial players. So it's been more of a gradual process of integration and collaboration, and that's what we're there to facilitate.
It's a very broad range, so we go from more insurance products companies to financial products payments up to, I would say, more lateral tech solutions like middleware, or security platforms, so it's the full stack in a way, yes. It's very broad.
London is renowned for its diversity, and B-Hive's hub is no different. We spoke with several of their clients about the benefits of B-Hive's ecosystem.
I'm the CEO and the co-founder of Guardsware, and we protect mobile apps, for example payment apps, banking apps, against hacking attacks like reverse engineering and tampering.
I'm from Projective and I'm representing the Glue. And the Glue is a next generation technology for digital solutions.
I'm Paul Broekaert, I'm founder of ContractFit. We build software to read and interpret documents, emails.
My name is Astrid Gréant and I work for Flanders Investment and Trade in London. Flanders Investment and Trade is a government agency and we've got offices across the world, but one of the offices is London, and we're focusing on helping British-based businesses to do business in Belgium.
B-Hive has been tremendously resourceful for us. So we're also a resident, so we have our offices in the B-Hive physical location in Brussels on one hand. Second, there's a lot of expertise under one roof. There's former entrepreneurs, there's former bankers, which can help us solve some issues along the route so that we can speed up a bit the process of establishing and growing the company.
B-Hive introduces us to potential customers like banks, and they can do it with events, and what is even better is if we can pitch to companies that are really interested in what we are doing.
So B-Hive is a fantastic ecosystem. Projective and the Glue is part of that ecosystem. Customers can connect not just with Projective and the Glue, but other solution providers, and actually the customers can connect with themselves. So you can really see how in the themes of connectivity, collaboration, all part of open banking, that really is provided by B-Hive.
B-Hive has so many very important people who've set up companies before, who had links with banks. They can offer a test market for new products, and therefore if companies can try that product out first on the Belgian market and then take it back to the more anonymous, bigger markets like London, for example, and hence we're focusing on that area with the full support of B-Hive.
Meanwhile, in New York, Ali Patterson met with US General Manager Charlotte Gréant to talk about why companies like B-Hive are so sorely needed in this day and age.
Why is there so many new sort of fintechs coming to the fray? What are the big challenges that banks and financial service firms are facing at the moment?
I think the main problem they're facing is that there's a lot of innovation. Nobody knows what's going to happen, but we all know that there is something that's going to happen. And for big banks, it's often very hard to communicate and to contact the right fintechs. There is so much out there, and it's hard to select who's worth it, who's not, what's going to be the next new thing. You might have, for example, a very good fintech with a very good technology, but if they're not able to scale, then on a large term, it's not interesting for a bank to invest or to get involved with it, because they might not be complementary at the end.
Because there's so many financial service events out there, how does that work in terms of matching up various sort of tech companies with various potential customers?
We have different verticals. We have BHive and Cyberfinder, where we bring the CISOs of the different corporates we work with around the table, and we know exactly what their needs are. So we go out in the market and we ask our experts, like, who is in the market today that's hot topic or the right technology that is necessary, and then we actively match them.
How has that been successful? Are there any kind of examples you can think of where it's led to?
Yeah, for example, one of the matchmaking events we did in New York is we had 11 New York startups, and then we had 11 corporates from Europe. We had KBC, but also BNY Mellon, MasterCard from Europe flying over, and then we did a kind of speed dating. And today we still have like 30% of the startups are still talking to the corporates, and we have some POCs coming out of that, so real business comes out of it.
We had the chance to talk to these businesses firsthand, so Ali spoke to several companies about their integration with the B-Hive ecosystem over in the US.
So when I think about B-Hive, I think about, all of the other institutions, both financial institutions and corporates, who are actively involved in the B-Hive community, as well as all of the other startups that play a role. So when I think about the ecosystem, it really is just that. It is an ecosystem, right? An ecosystem means you've got the core, and then you've got everything else that is peripheral to that core and supports the core. And so when we are looking to be interested in a particular topic, whether it's AI, whether it's blockchain, we know that we can consult and speak through B-Hive with a range of different, corporates and institutions, as well as fintechs. And so we get this kind of all-encompassing view of what is happening in the industry.
Being quite a tier one bank, how do you find it when trying to work and decide on which of the smaller players, the smaller fintechs to work with?
We are establishing the links, the contacts through people that know the industry very well. We are screening a number of fintechs for the potential to cooperate with them. And one of the relevant organizations, setups in New York is B-Hive. We do have very good connections with B-Hive already in Belgium. So it's a platform established by a number of financial players, and KBC is one of these founding partners, so to speak. So we have a rather long history with them in the Belgian context. And now we are developing a similar cooperation model in New York. The role they can play is they have good insight in European fintechs that want to develop their activities in the US, the place to be for many fintechs. So it's good to keep the finger on the pulse, either to help them develop in the US, and then we take the role of the bank supporting them for their financial needs, or by using their technology also in New York. The other way around, B-Hive is also part of the ecosystem here. So they are an excellent source of contacts and information about what's going on in that ecosystem. So teaming up with them gives us a lot of leverage in getting that insight, getting that access.
B-Hive has been wonderful. 2 events that we had were really spectacular. We had really good people who came, really good conversations. yeah, it's been really, really nice. It's nice to be connected through them.
BHive, of course, is opening offices left, right and centre. How has your relationship with BHive opened doors not just to the Tier 1 and Tier 2 banks, but also to various partners?
Maybe brand awareness, like a good way to kind of get us on the map through an organization like BHive. So we're able to work with them and work with associations and different smaller incubators or different kinds of programs that work with startups to really kind of get their name out there. A lot of work in the press as well. So we're a Belgian-based company, so I know we've worked with BHive on a couple of projects there as well.
Why would BHive come to New York? What's good about New York?
New York is one of the biggest financial centers worldwide, so you have a lot of big banks, but a lot of startups as well. So it's the place to be for the community. So that's one of the reasons why we're here. It's a big financial center, a lot of things out there, a lot of startups, financial institutions.
I imagine there's a lot of European startups as well wanting to get their foot in the door in North America.
Yeah, it works the other way around as well. So we're happy to have European startups come to the US and introduce them to the corporates and partners we have here.
Meanwhile, in Israel, I visited BHive's team in Tel Aviv to find out about their success in the Eastern market and their coining of the phrase tech for fin.
If you think about the fintech scene, if there's one place where it's by definition a vibrant place, it is Tel Aviv. So we find here a very nice combination of supply of talented people, of promising company, of venture capitalists, and all that backed also by a strong support for the government. So that makes it, in short, a very nice combination for what we're trying to do, which is stimulating entrepreneurship and collaboration between corporate and startups.
We set up here because this is one of the worldwide crucibles of innovation, digital technologies that financial services need so much, from cybersecurity, infrastructure, analytics, big data, all of these in quantity and quality especially.
So you run a quite unique community at BHive. Can you tell us about the ecosystem within it?
Well, you typically have two sides. First, you have the corporates that are the shareholders and also the beneficiaries of innovation. And then you have the tech startups. We call them tech for fin. Why? Because we have one side that are purer fintechs that are born to do things in financial services only, maybe try to disrupt them, but by and large collaborate. And the others are technology that are not specifically for financial services, like cybersecurity, analytics, regulatory aspects, trainings, and that are also relevant for financial services. Altogether, the tech for fin community. We look for companies that typically would address the largest families of challenges in the financial services industry. And we could summarize them in three buckets. Everything dealing with the front line, how these companies, these incumbents interact with their customers, more digital, more personalized services. They're also regulated with GDPR type of regulations. On the other hand, there's the back-end technology that they need, more security, more robust infrastructure, more fluid infrastructure and processes. And ultimately, there's a bit of the overlay of everything, getting transparency in what happens where to make sure it's all efficient and running fluidly in a transparent way.
Now in Singapore, New York, and in Tel Aviv. What does that give the fintechs that are looking to work with you?
Well, I think that most fintechs look to operate on a global scale and not anymore on a local scale. But most of them are probably, especially in the early stage, focus on their technology. Their focus is usually on developing themselves, and they don't have access to the worldwide network which we can provide. So actually, we help them accelerate also both their access to market, but also access to talented people, because they might need people that are located in different places in the world, and this is we try to help them get in the shortest possible time.
Well, it's been an amazing experience to work with BHive. Their engagement program, which consists of identifying business and security needs of financial institutions and mapping them with new technologies and new products like XM, brought us a lot of great opportunities.
So with BHive moving out to Singapore, potentially, New York, Tel Aviv, what's that going to mean for you guys that know it?
For us, it's amazing, as we're a service provider. Bigger global attraction would be amazing. Most Israeli companies, for some reason, directly run to the US market, as the US market is a big market, but it has, for a startup company, it has a lot of challenges going into such a big market in the States. BHive basically gives us a good platform for financial companies. Look into and move and speak directly to the right people. And it's a game changer, I think, for most Israeli companies that want to find a huge market.
So Mark, can you tell me a bit more about SmartFin Ventures?
So about a year ago, I was lucky enough to meet the group based in Brussels from SmartFin Capital and B-Hive. And part of their vision was, in addition to kind of building the ecosystem within Belgium and Benelux, but to expand, because they realized technology innovation is a global business. And as they were putting those pieces together, they realized really important to have a stake in the ground in Israel to be part of that global ecosystem. We spent a bunch of time together, and I really valued their vision and approach of combining technology innovation with industry understanding, and that's kind of the venture side with the B-Hive side. And being able to kind of sit in a place where we can be at the nexus of sharing that information, I think is very powerful both for the corporates, the financial institutions, as well as for the startups that we're investing in. I'm surprised that more models like B-Hive / the ecosystem that they're building haven't evolved or haven't been created. I think when I think about succeeding in bringing innovation to corporates, as well as being a successful venture investor, I think the distance or the light between the two needs to shrink dramatically, because you can't win in this business, meaning the investment side, by just being lucky. You have to have access to information that helps you direct your decisions. And I think we've built a great ecosystem from my perspective that enables you to kind of shrink that distance and better understand how you take interesting innovation, find the right market for it, and apply it to build a successful company. And on the flip side, from the corporate side, they want to have access to the right and relevant companies and know how to work with them, and that doesn't often come naturally, or is it in their core skill sets to know how to do that. So the kind of place in the market that we kind of appeal to both sides, meaning the innovative startups and the corporate sides, I think is begging for a solution like the ecosystem that we built with SmartFin Ventures, Capital, and B-Hive.
Finally, we caught up with the organisers and attendees of Digital Finance Europe, a brand new event formed by B-Hive and the EBF in Brussels.
We put this conference together with the European Banking Federation to actually implement the philosophy of the fact that we don't believe this is like a good guys versus bad guys thing with the big banks, and on the other hand the agile and charming young tech entrepreneurs, so to speak. That's not the way it works. In reality, it's about creating business and creating that together in a lot of cases. So we need each other.
The main objective was to show indeed the importance of cooperation, of a dialogue, of a partnership between the different stakeholders. Stakeholders together with the regulators, and all together we try to find solutions to move on, and that makes the uniqueness of this event, and hopefully there will be others.
B-Hive really helps us to get aware within the Belgian market. It's different than Holland, so we really need some help with how to become successful in this market, and B-Hive is the right party to do that for fintechs like Wangini.
I like Brussels as a city, and I think the event has been well attended, and it's some interesting information so far.
It's like a quite close family, so I think that's a confirmation that we are on the right track.
Thank you for joining us for another edition of the Fintech Show. Next time, we're getting to grips with biometrics.